It's a layered relationship. I don't cold call someone and expect them to sell their property with me the first time. The same goes for buyers agents and investors. You got to touch base with them and provide some value to them as well. Jabyn, what have you got at the moment that you're trying to sell or you're having troubles with? Maybe I've got a buyer lined up for that property.
Leading with value from the buyer's agent.
I really liked that you actually flew to Townsville and met the team. I think when you called, you're actually authentic. It's not purely about let's get the deal done. You actually care about the people. You like finding out about them. If I don't have any stock at the moment, doesn't mean I'm not going to have it in 6 months' time. And when you call me, I'll probably say, actually, I've got a great one for you.
Jabyn Manning, welcome to the Moose and Momentum podcast, flying all the way from Townsville, sunny Townsville, all the way into enemy territory, Cronulla.
Thank you very much for the invite, first and foremost, Jace. It's a pleasure to get here. And surprisingly, made it on time. Jetstar, renowned for cancellations, delays, but we made it.
Bro, first and foremost, what about the Cows this season? I came to the last Cows game in Townsville last year. I think it was in March. Cows versus Sharks, we smashes, right? This year, Cows killing it.
Surprisingly, it's been a weird season for them. Started with a few losses, but compounding wins. It's really good to see. It's good.
What's changed?
What's changed? Oh, I just think all the teams finally clicking a bit more, you know, settling off all the rust from the preseason.
There was always like a lot of good, like Purdue, all these like good young talents kind of like there. And you're like, yeah, they got something, but no one's really like setting it alight. No one's really doing anything. And I feel like even now, no one's really doing anything outstanding, but they're in the tussle and they're like grinding out games, and then all of a sudden, bang, games open up and they pile on the points. Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, best attack in the game, I'd have to say. And they've just got a lot of good players that, you know, when they're on, you know, I'd say Cliffo, he's playing awesome this year.
Serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rate him.
Isn't it like he's just one of those halfbacks that kind of just there, just getting it done? Remember like Toby Sexton's at the Dogs?
Yeah.
He was just there just getting it done. Like you could just lead the team around perfect. Right? But we could talk footy for a while.
We could.
Sharkies are in the top 8 again. We had a big win against the Tigers recently. But we're here to talk about you. Talk about you and Townsville. But bro, how long have you been in? How old are you now? You are a property investor. You've got some investment properties yourself. And when did you get into real estate?
I was a little baby-faced 20-year-old when I got in.
Are you still a baby-faced now? If you shaved, mama, you'd be a little baby.
That's why I keep the beard on. So it started when I was a little baby-faced 20-year-old, now 28. Real estate, I feel like I've been in it forever. I feel like I'm 50 now.
Yeah.
It's a good journey, but yeah, 8 years this year.
8 years this year in real estate. And you had a stint. You're in Townie, right? And you're working at one of the most impressive Ray White offices in the country. Like that Ray White office is surely setting some records.
We took out number 1 internationally in sales transactions a couple of years ago.
Number 1 Ray White office transactionally globally.
Yep.
That could be like in the universe, bro. Unreal. And the team you're a part of, you're working with Geo. How did that come about?
So
to spot into that team.
It started some time ago, and you know I've actually since left the team, so I'm just
you're a
completely
solo
by
agent.
myself.
But I want to set the scene for these guys. He's working with a heavy hitter. Now he's out in his own. Now he's flourishing.
So I guess if we rewind back to when I first started, I was his cadet. So legitimately I came in off the street and started in real estate. No experience, no nothing. Prior to that, I was working at KFC. And
is that legit?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, legitimately. I think I finished up at KFC on a Sunday and started
on the Monday.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It was just started as a cadet associate sort of level, and my job role was purely be a sponge. It was follow him around everywhere he went and just learn. And that was like my crash condensed course of real estate and apprenticeship.
At the time, was he doing big numbers back then as well?
When I first started, he was actually a lot smaller than he is now. He was kind of on that momentum track where you could feel the momentum was coming and starting, and he really just built on it. I would say since when I first started with him, his business has probably at least tripled.
Wow.
So he kind of was on that momentum path. So it was really good seeing it at the start. And I still remember one of the comments I made to him 6 weeks into starting with him, because at the job interview, he was very set and serious about, you get to a level where you become a commission-only agent, and, you know, that's what keeps you hungry and keeps you going and motivated. And it came 6 weeks into the job, and with him, I turned to him at an open home where back in that market, you were rejoicing if you met one buyer at your open home. And
what year was this?
This was in 2018.
2018, yeah.
And I turned to him and said, Gio, we're 6 weeks in and you haven't sold a property.
How am I going to go commission only, mate?
I was like, you're telling me commission only? I can't afford to not get paid for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting conversation. I was getting worried, do I make the right choice, you know, leaving a, I don't know, somewhat secure job where I was a manager at to do this new career I've never been in. And from there, ironically, it, you know, started picking up a gear, and I saw all the momentum coming. And about 2 weeks after I made that comment, I think he put 3 under contract.
I'll show this kid. I'll show him.
So he kind of went out there and was like, yep, I'm going to prove him wrong. And yeah, from there, I watched his business scale, and it was great to see, I guess, a business that's starting the momentum and the traction. You can kind of see as it scales and gets there. So it was a really good learning. And from there, about 9 months in, he just cut me loose and said, you can go out there and do it yourself. And I did that through my career. First year, nine homes sold.
That's
Second
cool.
year, 43. And
That's
then
momentum, man.
had a midlife crisis and moved to Brisbane for a couple of years
Yes,
to
I remember
perfect my
I remember
craft.
the midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And is that like the winner's curse? Like you're a boy from the country town, or regional town. You're working with Geo. You're learning you would have learned some serious skill sets, man. I want to talk about that later. You go out on your own. You do 9 deals. Bang! All of a sudden, now you're doing 40 odd deals a year. That's mental. Then you're burnt out. He's not treating you nice anymore. What happened?
It was interesting. No, I love Gio. He didn't actually speak to me for a few days after I resigned, which is fair enough. I don't blame him. I'd do the same thing. But I actually, this came up in my memories only about 3 weeks ago, and it was quite interesting. I was showing my associate, you know, what it was like back then, and it was a very interesting refresh, and I guess shows us where we've come from to where we are now. And I showed him my old statistics that I took a photo of on REA, purely what vendors can see when they're researching agents.
Yep.
Jabyn Manning, at that time it was 35 sales, median sale price, 265.
Whoa.
Median days on market, 73 days.
Shit, man.
And so it was...
Was that good? Like, were you taking a photo of, was like, look at this. How good's that?
Yeah, it was purely, oh, look at me. I've done 35 sales.
Wow.
You know, now I look at that and go, oh, I've only done 35 sales. It's amazing how our mindsets change when you've actually hit the goal.
Yeah.
But it was more, at the time, I was celebrating, rejoicing, going, fuck yeah, 35 sales, you know, that's great. It's awesome. And, but, you know, as that kind of progressed, you know, I started getting into the 40s, and I got to that stage where it was purely just burnout. I didn't know how to manage my time, manage my systems, and I was doing it all myself. I didn't feel comfortable or ready to take the jump to put in a staff member into my business. And I, you know, obviously we all kind of have that thrive to follow all the people that we see as successful, doing better or perceive better than us, which is for me following all these, you know, high net worth real estate agents selling the $5 million homes in Brisbane.
Yes.
I said, you know, they're doing this and charging same fees as me. And, you know, on the outside, they're only doing 20 deals a year, but making 3 times as much as I am. And kind of got to that burnout level where I was working so much, and I just felt like I've got to try it.
And what did you learn? So you pack your little suitcase, you put your socks and your undies in there, you hop on a plane straight to Brisbane, Vegas.
I drove.
You drove?
Yeah.
No.
Left at 1 a.m. in the morning, arrived at Brisbane 4:30 p.m. that afternoon.
Yeah. This is my home now. What did you learn there, man? Because how long were you in Brisbane for?
18 months.
18 months. Okay.
18 months.
Decent style.
Yeah, it was good. Like, if people asked me if I had time again, knowing how it ended and how I ended up back in Townsville, ironically, I said I'd never come back to Townsville. I always said I'll never come back.
When you left?
Yep.
I'm never coming back.
And that's how I felt. And it was interesting. I if I had to do it again, I would go to Brisbane again.
Yes.
I would. I think that really taught me who I am and what is actually good for me. You know, ironically, and I say this to everyone, the reason I left is the same reason I came back. You know, I was kind of just sick of the work. I felt like, you know, I was kind of like at that stage where I just needed to spread out. But what I realized is all my friends and family are here, and you can go anywhere and do the work, but it's really about the people you're surrounded with. I didn't have any friends or family there.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who drove me crazy for a bit.
You got no friends and family at Townsville, bro. No, none that want to be around you.
Yeah. Don't blame them either. So yeah, it was a very interesting learning. I learned a lot about myself. Like, you know,
that's awesome, bro.
And the deciding factor was, ironically, one of my mates, when I was umming and ahhing about coming back, and it all happened at a very weird time in my life. I departed one agency and I didn't actually have another job to go to. And so
actually like one agency or just an agency? An agency,
yeah. So there was a week where I didn't know what was going on in my life and it was all uncertain, and it was pretty much like, if I don't find a job, I've got no money. Yeah. And so I was just kind of floundering about. I called Gio, said, what the fuck do I do? You know, what's going on here? And I put the feelers out to a few people I've met in the network, at different agencies and different people. No, all over the place. Just anywhere and everywhere. And I ended up getting 3 job offers during that week where everything was a bit uncertain. And I took one of them job offers, and come to Tuesday, starting at that job, or Monday, Tuesday, second day in, I got a text out of the blue from my other principal and director, Santo, saying, come back. This is what we're offering you. We want you back. You know, Gio's told me all about what's going on. Come back. Leave tomorrow. We've got a desk ready for you.
Unreal.
So me being me said, nah, I'm going to stick through this. And I was telling my friend about it.
Trying to negotiate with him. If you up by 20%, I'll think about it.
And I called a friend and told him all about it. And he said, yeah, perfect. I'll come and pick you up tomorrow. I'll drive from Townsville, bring a trailer. I'll come pick you up. I was like, I can't do that. And I was so stubborn. I was like, I can't do it.
Why not?
It was a perceived failure at the time for me. I had said I was not coming back, and I felt like if I came back, it was a failure.
The perceived value of going back to Townie, you'd failed in Brisbane.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
So in my head, it was my head, and it's interesting the conversations you have with yourself in your head. It was a perceived failure. And I ended up working there for another 8 weeks, and I just kind of always kept it on the back burn, but I was kind of entertaining it, but I didn't want to take it further, and it was going to be the very worst case scenario. And every week I'd kind of tentatively book this friend out to come and pick me up, so he didn't make plans. So if I had one of them moments where I'm like, I'm moving, he was there to help me. And it got to a stage one Friday morning, he calls me at 9 a.m. and goes, I'm sick of you umming and ahhing. This is your last chance to come home. If you don't accept my offer today by lunchtime, you can find your own way home whenever you want.
What a beast. Ultimatum, yeah. That's the ultimate close right there.
And I just kind of sat there not knowing what to say. He hung up the phone on me, and I was just like, shit, I don't have that network there. Why am I just prolonging the inevitable? All the people who care about me and are willing to go out of their way at the drop of a hat are all there. Why am I not going back to probably some of the best people that I've got around me?
Yeah.
You know, people that call you and say, we've got a desk for you. A friend that's going to just drive 12 hours to come pick you up. So I called him back at lunchtime, said, yeah, come. He legitimately got in his car half an hour later with a trailer and drove down to pick me up.
Unreal, man.
Now I'm back.
And now I'm back. Oh my gosh. How crazy is that, eh? To think about that.
Yeah, it's awesome, but you can't find people like that out. It's a great network to have. Like, I'm so appreciative of people like that to have around, you know, for them to just offer that. You know, I left them, they didn't owe me anything, and they still welcome me back with arms wide open. And that's where the conversation came about when they offered me this job back. You know, I ummed and ahed about it. What does it look like? What's it going to be? And there was a discussion about leading into a team role. You know, we notice a lot of the successful teams across Australia in real estate, not just in Queensland, everywhere. The best performing people were all in teams. It wasn't just a solo agent anymore. It's not your own race. It's, you know, you'll go quick by yourself, but you won't get far. And that's what we were noticing. 100%. And, you know, I reflect on mine. You know, I went quick. I accelerated quickly, but I didn't go far.
Yeah.
I got burnt out.
True. And
we kind of got to that decision, well, it's probably best we, you know, form a team. And it made sense. And that's how we kind of got to the team where we started, Gio and I. When I came back in, that would have been 23, I started back. That's where the team came from.
Unreal, man. Unreal. Who were you in real estate at the start? Let's just talk about when you did the 40 deals, right? To when you came back to join the team or to start the team with Gio. Like, what was the difference between, like, just give me a couple of bullet points of who were you then? I imagine you're rocking up to appraisals in maybe some footy shorts and some thongs.
No, Gio always and our business always set a strong standard from the get-go that we had to dress like the professionals.
Yeah.
You know, we are perceived professionals and we believe we are professionals, so you had to dress accordingly. So that was honed into me from the get-go. I would actually say I dress a lot more casually now than I did back then. Back in the day, I used to slacks, tie. Nowadays, a lot of time, I haven't worn a tie in 2 years.
What's that?
I just feel like it doesn't suit who I am now.
Yeah.
I've really leaned a lot more into my personality and who I am.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still white dress shirt every day. I kind of mix it up between slacks, chinos and jeans.
Yeah.
But a lot more casual with the jeans now, whereas back in the day, if I rocked up in jeans, I probably would have been killed.
But what was more like the activity or the mindset is more like what I'm trying to get into as well.
The mindset back then was pure hunger. Pure hunger and obsession.
Yeah.
And in saying that, I haven't lost that hunger or obsession now, but it was definitely a more like that energetic, new, fresh hunger. I'm just ripping in. I want to go as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I want to just keep going and going and going. You know, that 9 to 43, and then I was like, let's do 80.
Yeah.
It was,
let's double it again.
And it was always just that chase and hunger. I would say when I came back from Brisbane,
yes,
there was a lot more humility.
Wow.
I obviously took a lot of hits, took a lot of mental hits and my own obstructions in my own head about it.
Yeah.
Came back with a lot more humility and groundedness, I'd say.
And then how you apply your craft as a sales agent, that team goes to like you guys are number one team in Ray White, weren't you?
No, it depends what metrics you look on.
Yes.
Sales volume, yes.
Sales volume, number one team in the Ray White network.
Yeah, I believe it was number one team, or we were up there.
Yeah. Let's say top 5, comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What type of person do you need to become? Like, what's your time management look like? What's your activity look like? Like, what does that look like on a daily?
You've got to learn to be able to trust everyone to do the jobs and delegate.
Yep.
And I learned that from when I burnt out. And I'm not the best person by any means of this. You can ask my associate. I am still a micromanager that feels like I have to do every step of the process. But to get to that team level, you've got to learn to let go and delegate. Focus on actually what's important in your role and why that's your role.
What's important in your role, Mr. Manning? What is important in your role?
For us, Gio and I, and anyone who's a lead sales agent, listing and selling.
Yep.
You know, I believe you've got to be there to get the listing. And secondly, I'm still a big believer you've got to be doing the negotiating for the selling.
Yep.
There's a reason they've picked you. And I believe that is one of the biggest strong points of why you're there and doing that job for them.
Nice. Well, I've negotiated with you many a times. You are a strong negotiator, and I think that is a big selling point for you, you know. What did the market look like back then, 2023? When you jump back in?
2023. It was very different to what it is now, and it was kind of at that level where we knew something was coming. We didn't know what it was, but there was just a buzz and a feel, you know. Everything was changing.
What was changing?
Buyer inquiry, like compared to like obviously I had 18-month hiatus and I only compare to what I was doing when I left. A lot more buyer inquiry. It was certainly easier to sell a property, and I think it's very interesting. I love this saying that corporate have really been pushing in Ray White at the moment is the market has done a lot of the heavy lifting of our jobs lately, and we've let a lot of things go in our business that we probably shouldn't have let go in our systems and processes. And I see that coming back. Buyer inquiry was there. It was a lot easier to sell a property. Median days on market were under 30. It was half of, well and truly half of the 74 that I left.
Yeah.
So median days on market were decreasing. There was multiple offers, which was a rarity in our market before then. There was multiple offers coming into place, and buyer inquiry was there. You were kind of disappointed if you got less than 5 people in an open home. So there was a lot of excitement
when you say
going
that,
on.
I just imagine you and Joe walking out of the house. You just locked it up and he's put his arm around. He's like, "It's all right, mate. It's all right. There'll be more next week." He's just cuddling you, and you've got your head down, like kind of scuffing your shoes.
Not quite like that. He likes to more just take the mickey out of me.
So buyer inquiries picking up. It's starting to become easier to sell houses. What's it like to list them?
Listing was very interesting. During that time, obviously, the conversation more came, and as more buyers came into the market, you really had to change your vocabulary, about, I guess, setting expectations. Back in the original market that I started in, it was about setting expectations. There's every owner at the time when I first started selling was losing $100,000 on what they paid, what they built it for. So it was setting expectations that you're probably going to be making a loss here. And the conversation kind of changed where, well, we might see some good, healthy profit here, or we might, create some competition and get more than your expectations. And there was, and it happens in every market, no matter what. There's some people out there that'll overprice property to get the listing and all of that. So you still got to set some expectations, but I noticed you had to transition away from being fixated on what you perceived as price, because again, the market was so good at doing a bit of an uplift that your perceived price now could actually be different to what it ends up selling for, usually on the higher side, which is great to see. So really letting go of the price and talking about the process to get the best price.
Process. It come down to just process. The buyer inquiry that we were getting, were they owner occupiers? Were there people moving back from Brisbane like yourself? Was it investors? Where was the buyer inquiry? And can you give me percentages?
Yeah, so 2023, it was still a lot more owner occs coming in. I feel like the 24-25 period is when we saw the strong resurgence of investors push through.
Resurgence. That sounds like a movie, bro.
Well, it was. A lot of investors got scarred by Townsville with what happened in the GFC, and Townsville was blacklisted by investors. Everyone was like, "Don't touch Townsville, don't." But it was a lot of owner occs. I'd probably say 80-20.
80-20?
20 in 2023. Yep. At the back end of 23 is when we started to see a lot more investor inquiry, a lot of that research phase, where they start inquiring on property, start asking the questions.
Just kicking some tires.
Yeah, having a look, what's it rent for, getting used to areas, all of them fun questions that you see. And then come 24 is when we started to really see the investors. And we saw the investors really take over the market for most of 24 and into 25.
Wow, man. What about now?
We're still 24. Seeing investors, but strongly
Percentage.
weighted back to owner occs. I would probably say about 65-70% owner occ versus investor.
Okay.
But the investors are still out there. Ironically, a lot of my transactions at the moment are still selling to investors.
Wow.
But there's more owner occupiers out there when I just measure pure inquiry inbound on the property. Yep. It's still more owner occs over investors.
The investors that are buying now, are they represented or not represented?
50-50.
50-50. Okay.
Yeah.
Back in 2024, 2025, mainly 2024 is what I'm interested on. How many of those were represented?
It's hard to give a full metric on it because there was a lot of buyers agents just inquiring, inquiring, talking about, what do you got? So it's hard to say definitively, like when I guess metric wise, if I was to compare it, like transactions, of my own personal transactions, if we're just purely looking at investors, I would say it was probably about 50-50. 50% of my transactions were buyers agents versus just regular straight to you investors.
Okay. So it's still pretty similar in regards to it. I feel like it's interesting to know, are all of the buyers agents still buying there, or are all the buyers agents, or is it just retail investors now? But it sounds like it's been 50-50 the whole time.
I would say about 70% of the buyers agents that used to inquire or call me or speak to me are probably gone, but there's still a strong 30% there. There's different ones coming out of the blue. I feel like, no offense to buyers agent, you got to do what you got to do, but I'm hearing it.
No offense. What the
hell?
But
I'm feeling like there's a new buyers agency name calling me every week that I've never heard of. And, it's a bit overwhelming to try and remember them all, but I feel like every day there's a new buyers agency somewhere.
I don't think the clients sometimes believe me when I say that. Like, I'm talking to agents and they are getting called daily by multiple 10, 15, 20 buyers agents a day calling them for stock. I'm getting access to exclusive stock for 24 hours. We need to move because these guys are getting hounded. Is that still happening now in 2026?
No, not as that level.
Okay.
It's I'll get probably one call every day to 2 days. A lot of them are at the stage now, a lot of text message, a lot of email.
AI. They have AI.
Yeah, and there's even AI calls coming through.
Wow.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's impressive.
I'll give them credit.
Yeah.
I'm very anti-tech, ironically.
Yeah.
And it's impressive, some of these AI calls.
What about take a step back? What was it like in 2024?
2024.
How many calls were you getting a day in 2024?
Back then it wasn't looking for off-market opportunities much back then. It was really just inquiring on the stock that's there. But off-markets weren't a huge part of the market back then. Off-markets back in 2023, 24 started coming into the back end of the year.
Okay.
At the start of the year, it was more agent-driven, I would say, if you look at the market. Yeah. But as the year progressed, off-markets were becoming a big thing. And it was a big conversation piece.
Interesting, actually, like I'll park that for a minute. You're a property investor. You got a couple of investment properties in Townsville. How do you feel the market's going now?
Good. We're not seeing the sharp increases like we did year on year for the last 2 years, but most suburbs are right now still seeing, based on the current data we're seeing, 5 to 10% on last year, depending on what it is.
I feel like last year, the stuff that I'm tracking is most areas you're like 15 to 18% growth last year. Mm-hmm. So you're saying it's on top of or less than? 5% less than?
5 to 10% on top of. That's what we're seeing growth in most areas at the moment.
Wow. That's great, man.
It's not too bad. Depends on the area.
Yeah.
But a lot of the core areas I'm selling in, 5 to 10% above of last year's median end.
Incredible, bro. That's really strong.
Yeah.
Considering where it was back in 2022. I mean, like let's say 4 years ago, what prices were then? You said your median sale price was what?
265.
And now?
My median's sitting at 540.
540. So the median's gone up comfortably, 300 grand in freaking 4 years.
Yep.
Insane, man.
Huge.
What do you reckon about units? Like there's a bit of a big conversation going around with investors at the moment, like the housing, affordable housing, house and land, like not house and land packages, but like you're buying a house with some land, is starting to become unaffordable and the yields don't quite stack. And there's a lot of talk about units. Are you seeing that play out in TSV?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Units have been my strong point.
Yeah.
The prices we're getting on them at the moment is impeccable. Year on year, like to give you an example, this complex has really done me a lot of favors in regards to my sale prices I've got there. A year ago, it's a bit of a story, but a year ago, I had a buyer looking for some off-market opportunities, and this one, and again, we'll talk on off-market and why you use it sometimes, but this one was an off-market sale, and I conservatively thought it was more likely going to be a 380 thereabouts, maybe 360. the vendor said to me he wants around 420. I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? And I found a buyer and we were negotiating. And at the time, there was another one that had just sold off market in the complex for 330. So we were negotiating and the buyer said to me, "Oh, have you seen this sale?" And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And they're like, "Oh, it's just happened." And I said, "Well, it's not on the market. There might have been some circumstances." There's always circumstances. And he's like, "Well, I don't know if I could pay 420. I said, "Well, I just think that agent was a bit weak-willed around their negotiation. This is what we're at. And if you don't pay it, we're not going to sell it." He ended up paying 420.
Crunched.
Was
Crunched.
pretty impressive. There was obviously a lot more negotiations than just
Yeah,
that one
just that
line.
one line. The guy just ponies up an extra 90 grand.
But off the back of that, a lady reached out to me because I didn't advertise the sold price yet because it was unconditional but hadn't settled, and I just put a sold signboard out the front. Another owner in the complex reached out to me and said, "What did you sell yours for?" 420. She didn't believe me. She thought I was just telling absolute lies. I said, "Oh, you can wait and wait for it to see it settled. I can tell you I've got a contract that says 420 on it. I'm currently negotiating mine and I was considering 335 because it was $5,000 above the last sale." I said, "On all honesty, you shouldn't sell it. I don't care if you go with me, another agent, just don't sell it." That one ended up selling for 335 and she still just thought I wasn't telling the truth.
Yeah. People have this thing with real estate agents. Yes.
And I don't blame her. That's fair enough because it's pretty big discrepancy,
Yeah.
$90,000. The gentleman, fast forward now to a year later, of that property that bought it for 335, called me and said, "I want to sell, Jabyn. It's coming up to a year since I owned it. I actually never wanted to buy it. The only reason I ended up sticking with the sale is I found out you sold yours for 420 and I was buying mine for 335.
So the guy that bought it for 335.
He was about to can the contract.
Shit.
But he found out. So he ended up signing it at 335. My sale ended up settling and he saw it published online. But during the finance period, he was about to can it and put his money into something else. So he called me and said, "I know when I had to sell, I had to call you." Perfect. Appreciate it. And
This is real estate 101, bro.
yeah.
This is real estate 101.
And I didn't know him. He obviously reached out to me and it got to the stage now a year later, he's planning on selling it. He wants 520. I said, "That's probably on the high side, but we'll be able to get a 5 in front of it." During the negotiations of his, one popped up sold for 460.
Don't tell me it's the same agent that sold it for 330.
No.
If it was,
different
man.
agent, off market again.
Off market.
And mine's off market. So all of these have been off market. And now his is unconditional for 520.
Yeah.
And I've just sold another 2-bedroom around the corner, 2-bed, 1-bath. These are 3-bed, 2-bath, 2 living areas for 465 around the bend too. And, some lucky buyers picked up one for 460 off market. So extra bed and bath. Good on them. But, yeah, that complex has done me a lot of favours in regards to unit uplift.
Yeah.
But also showing proof.
I think that's not the
agent
unit, bro.
is,
That's all you and your negotiation tactics, you know what I mean? And having a bit of go about you.
But to answer your question, we are seeing strong uplift in the unit market where we've seen 420 a year ago to 520.
Yeah.
Just over a full year, just in one complex.
I'm not great at maths, but that seems like about 20% uplift in the unit market. All right. On that, while we're here, off markets, people ask me all the time, why would they sell off market? Why would they do it? Why would the seller go off market? Is this, I know as a buyer's agent, not all off markets are equal. Not all agents are equal. Not all off markets are equal. Not all listings are equal. Not all listing prices displayed online are equal. You got to check the comps. You got to check if it stacks. Bing, bing, bing. You're a property investor as well. You kind of know this is a good deal because it stacks. In your world, Townsville, I find there's a couple of buckets of why people sell off market. Can you define the buckets for us?
I think it's a very interesting scenario. I think as an agent, you've got to go in and provide multiple options to the vendor, and you've always got to remember you are working for the vendor.
You are.
That's first and foremost what you've always got to remember. You are working in their best interest. So off markets are easy, but you don't do them because they're easy. You give the vendor options. And when I walk in and discuss these options with the owners, do you want the path of least resistance, aka we try the off market approach? Do we just try and create a bit of competitive tension off market and still get a price? Or where are we going with it? I am a firm believer. I try not to sell properties with tenants in them on the market for a few different reasons. First and foremost, I myself personally, if I rented a property, wouldn't want an agent intruding on my house every week doing an open home and getting 20 odd people through my place.
Yeah.
I just think it's personal respect. Everyone kind of looks down on tenants as, they're below us property owners. They're not.
I'm a tenant.
I think we're all equals, and I wouldn't want someone intruding on my space like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very honest with owners. If you've got a tenant in the property, I think it's best to sell it vacant. Because you can control the presentation, and some tenants, they keep properties neat, some don't, but you never really know. So I always say it's just easier to sell it vacant. You can stage it, you can make it look great, and it's going to look like that every time you come through. With tenants, life might get in the way and they don't have a chance to clean it. You go there for an inspection and, it could be clothes all over the floor, just things like that. And also sometimes for owners, obviously if they've just signed a new 12-month lease and then circumstances changed in their own life, you're only going to be selling to investors anyways. And that's where you can create that competitive off-market tension anyways. Save them the advertising funds. The biggest one for them is saving advertised funds, and easy. That's usually the main two reasons.
How much is saving advertised funds?
Depends on the marketing campaign, but anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000.
$3,000 to $6,000. So I don't have to spend $3,000 to $6,000, and that's normally upfront when someone's selling. I don't have to give Jabyn Manning any cash, and I can sell my house.
Correct.
That's pretty attractive. You never told us the buckets. You never defined them, and you keep smiling at me because is that like a sign that you don't want to?
I wouldn't say that specifically in buckets. It's more just what
camps, whatever you want to name them.
I just believe you've got to listen to what an owner wants out of this.
Okay.
And then you give them, when you go to a doctor, you describe your symptoms and a doctor tells you, well, I think you should have this.
Yeah.
Well, we give options of what you should have and you choose the best one that fits in with your plans. But again, I don't think the off-market's be all and end all. And a lot of my owners, I say to them, if we don't get an attractive offer based in line with this level, we should go on market. And then we discuss from there. And the off-market is sometimes just a trial. I'm sorry to all the buyers who think, you're getting premium access. Sometimes it's just a trial to get that feedback.
That's right.
But we're always committed to going on market too.
And that's what I believe. Not all are considered equal. Like some are a genuine, hey, this guy's ready to sell. You're the buyer's agent that I talked to first. Bang, this is an opportunity. Or it's like, hey, here's a property. Do you have a buyer? What would you guys pay for it? They're both off markets, but they're both two different circumstances, situations. And for me as a buyer, I've got to play both those situations differently depending on what kind of ball was coming down the.
Absolutely. And, I teach my associate this too, go for low hanging fruit. I'm a really big believer in that one. Again, we talk about easy. Us as agents want easy as well. So I prospect what buyers are looking for.
Yeah, of course.
So if I've got a correlation of something that's coming out, when we talk about units, we've seen strong uplift in the unit market. It's a really easy conversation to have with someone who originally thought their unit may be worth $350, even now it's worth $450. If we could get that, would you sell? Yeah, I would actually. Well, then let's get that going because I've got a backlog of buyers.
Let's get that going.
At that level.
Yeah.
And that's what I use as my leverage in that conversation.
What type of yield do you get on these units? You buy them from the 3s and the 4s? Just give me gross.
Gross, you're probably sitting at around 4.5 to 5.5, depending on the unit.
4.5 to 5.5 on the unit.
Like
body corpse, strata.
That's where you can come unravel. But again, some people like the tax purposes on it. Most strata anywhere in Townsville from 3 up to 8, depending
3 to
on the
8
complex.
per annum.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all inclusive, but admin, sinking, insurance.
Yeah.
Some go up to 15, but you wouldn't buy it there.
Yeah, I'm imagining you're getting a sauna, you're getting a pool, you're getting some lifts, you're getting some stuff for that, surely.
Pool and lifts.
That's it. Probably
Huge insurance pool. As you go high in Townsville, the insurance goes up like no tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. Me and you've done heaps of deals. I find that most agents have got like sometimes a 1. They definitely got a 3, 1, 2, 3, and then they've got like the general pool, and then they've got the market. Is that true? And I'm kind of unraveling the listeners for this, property investors.
Correct.
There is a lot of buyer's agents who listen to this, and I'm trying to give a bit of value to buyer's agents to teach them what it's like to crack an agent, but like understand how it works, even for average retail investors.
I guess the way it works is it's like everything, building a relationship. Everyone expects magic out of the first time.
On the first deal?
Yeah, no, not even the first deal, the first phone call.
First phone call, yeah.
And it's almost scripted. A lot of these people that call hey, Jabyn, my name's property investor, I represent such and such buyer's agency. I'm looking for off markets. What have you got? This budget, that's my brief. Yeah, I'd love to help you, you opened XYZ too. No, not really. And, I think they expect magic to happen out of that. And I might showcase them a couple of options. And, obviously we don't have everything that fits everyone's brief at one given time. But I also test people. Can you send me a text following up with your details just so I've got it there? And we're always on the fly. So can you send me a follow-up text with what you're looking for, your best contact details so I can add you? Most of them won't even do that.
Wow.
And I feel like, it's a layered relationship. I don't cold call someone and expect them to sell their property with me the first time. The same goes for buyers, agents, investors.
Yeah.
You got to touch base with them, provide some value to them as well. Jabyn, what have you got at the moment that you're trying to sell or you're having troubles with? Maybe I've got a buyer lined up for that property.
Oh, that's value, leading with value from the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Have you ever got that call before?
No, not really. They're all just asking for what I've got upcoming.
What can you do for me?
Yeah.
What can you give me?
Yeah.
But you're just a human being.
And even just feedback. Feedback's the best one. I'll like give buyer's agents something in their scope. And, I might, and it might not tick all the boxes, but sometimes just a bit of feedback or, hey, Jabyn, really appreciate that opportunity. Doesn't quite suit. XYZ, love the property, but XYZ is not what we're typically looking for. Yeah, that's fine. I'll call you again and we'll see what you got going on. And I've noticed after a few no's, they don't call you again. And I think you've just got to push through to rejection too. Like if I don't have any stock at the moment, doesn't mean I'm not going to have it in 6 months' time. And when you call me, I'll probably say, actually, I've got a great one for you.
Yeah. That's right. And you're building the relationship in that time. Who have you seen do it well and what have they done?
Honestly, I'd still say you're probably up there with some of the best people I've seen. And I really liked that you actually flew to Townsville and met the team. There's only been 4 buyers agents that I've actually physically met in person.
Wow.
And I think that's very big. I get it's a big expense and, not everyone has that capability, but really trying a way to, connect and meet people. And it's not purely you. I think when you called, you're actually authentic. It's not purely about let's get the deal done. You actually care about the people. You like finding out about them a bit and have a genuine conversation. Yeah. Some of them are very scripted and sound very bland. Oh, what have you got off markets? It's just my brief. No. Hey, how you going? I understand you're busy. It's just straight in. If you don't have it, I'll just hang up and call the next person.
Full raw dog it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's
a bold strategy.
Communication.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. It's human to human.
Yeah.
Be human.
We had Tony Zelenich on here. He's honestly like a carbon copy of you, but just in Ballarat. And he was talking, when I first started talking to him, he's like, bro, I'm keen to do some deals. Mates first, business second. We're mates, we build a relationship. I was like, bro, this is exactly what I like. And man, it's pretty boring. You know what I mean? Like in Townsville, you're cranking a 3x1 in Kerwin for, $400 grand. Bang, 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 bang. You're just doing like the same deal over and over again. And you understand what the market is, but what is fun about it is helping your client and creating a relationship with the agent, that you've built some trust, you got each other's back, all that type of stuff. That's what I always enjoyed. Right?
Yeah. I agree completely. And, again, it's not, you might have the right buyer, all of that to offer on a property, but if the agent for some reason doesn't trust you or doesn't like you and they've got multiple offers on the property, and again, I believe as an agent, you've got to put blinders on and, everyone's the same as a buyer. They've all got the same money, but again, there are agents out there that will, I like this person more. I think that's probably the best offer if they're all tied on price, of course. I've interestingly had vendors ask me my thoughts on buyers. Oh, which one gave you the best feeling? I'm like, I don't know. It's not my position to say. Everyone's got different feelings, but some people
Everyone's got different feelings.
Vendors have legitimately chosen offers based upon how they felt about it and the person.
I agree with that.
And we've done deals before where you've even offered more than the other buyer who brought it, and the vendor chose owner occupier or the lovely young couple.
Totally.
So it's not purely about the price; it's about the feeling of some vendors, and the same thing. I think you've got to make the agent feel good too as a buyer's agent. I want to do more if this one goes great.
Do any buyer's agents feel like strong arm you and feel get like aggressive with you?
No, not really. I'm pretty, I guess, mellow person. They're all pretty nice. Like everyone's really nice. It's just about, I think just being genuine, building relationships. That's the biggest one. Relationships.
This is a big relationship game. People think it's a property game, but it's a relationship game. And at the end of the day, as running a buyer's agency, what am I really providing my clients? Access to my relationships in different markets that are good. Yeah. Like that's how I get the access. That's how we get the access through relationships.
And like I see the flip side where, I've any buyer's agent can offer my property, but I had one recently where I said to the vendor, it's for a buyer's agent, obviously most buyer's agents make sure their client's finance approved and all this and that, but then the deal went south and it got canned, and it's very hard for then me to tell another vendor if that buyer's agent's offer on another property, I trust these guys, we've done deals before. It's hard to get that trust.
Yes.
Especially if there's a lack of communication during the deal. I'm a big believer in when you get the deal, you got to communicate through it. Keep everyone on the same page.
Yes.
What's going on? Where's it at? Why do we need this extension? Not just, I saw a solicitor email come through. Yeah. You got to call and prompt us. Hey, this is going to come through. This is why.
Man, communication. That's kind of like what Ray White Corporate was saying about we've let go of a lot of things. To me, that's all the soft skills, you know what I mean? And I try and not drill into the team here, but it's like feedback is your way into the relationship with the agent. If you get it and it stacks and we don't have a buyer for it, hey man, it stacks. Call 3 buyers. No one's in a position to buy yet. Apologies. I'll leave it with you. No love.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it can be a call, it can be a text. But that client said they'll be ready in 2 weeks. If it's still around in 2 weeks, can I have it? Or do you have something else coming in 2 weeks that I can give on to them? All of a sudden you've turned what some people leave as this awkward exchange and just leave it. Oh, don't call them back or don't talk to them. You've now set up a deal in 2 weeks' time based on a client that's coming. No brainer. I feel like I'm giving away industry secrets here as buyer's agents, but
At the end of the day, the most successful people give all of their secrets away.
Give the value, bro. I just want to honestly, I love this game, and this game has given me so much, and it's been able to share it with clients, how to get access, how to even you're here in the office today, seeing the team. I'm trying to grow these buyer's agents to do. I think a lot of it is the soft skills, the feedback, just give it the communication with the agent and what the client is saying,
sorry to cut you off.
Cut me off. This is your episode.
I always say, and I've drilled this into my associate Ethan, and
Ethan.
you can ask him all the time. Frequency of communication builds trust.
Yeah.
That's in, prospective vendors. That's in anyone in your business. And I say to him at some stages, you can tell when a vendor's getting a bit frustrated or worried. You need to talk to them more, because then if push comes to shove, they're going to trust you because you've been the one talking to them.
Yeah.
If you start hiding behind text messages and, no one likes giving bad news. So you start hiding behind text messages instead of calling them. That compounds.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you've lost their trust because you're not communicating with them enough.
Yeah.
If you've got so much bad news to deliver, it's easier to just call them, hey, not the best news, but they trust you more because you're just consistently communicating.
You're giving it the news.
Yeah. So frequency of communication builds trust in every scenario, no matter what it is.
There's some gold, bro. You should come and do a little bloody training session for the team.
Love to.
Yeah.
Love to.
I'm going to wrap you up because we could talk for ages, right? But I want you to wrap us with what are the best opportunities you're seeing at the moment in the Townsville market.
I'm seeing strong opportunity in blocks of units and still units. Buying a little 2B1, you know, and probably just doing a minor reno to it, you know, $20,000 to $30,000, sprucing it up, putting some tenants in it, getting a really, really strong yield on that sort of stuff.
Okay, nice. And any advice or any perspective you want to give to listeners about the Townsville market, or even just a property investor yourself who's invested in Townsville?
I still believe, you know, we're going to see continued and sustained growth. Obviously, there's a lot of negative sentiment in the media at the moment, but we're still seeing a lot of positive signs on the ground. And one of the biggest signs we always look at, and something you always talk about in your podcast, on your Instagram, is, you know, building approvals. We're still so far behind in building new homes with our population that's still ballooning. I was doing some numbers before coming here, and over the last, between the last two censuses, we've had a population balloon like no tomorrow. And I worked out, based upon the average people in a dwelling at 2.5 people per dwelling, we need another 500 homes to support them people. And we're not pumping out that many properties.
You're not pumping them out? How much are you pumping out?
That many. I'd have to double check, but building, again, with everything going on in the world, no one's finding building that feasible or strong. Like your standard house and
still
lands.
owns all that stuff around Bird Hill
They
and stuff.
sold it off to another development group.
Oh, right.
And they're still developing, don't get me wrong, but the sentiment I see in the market, I met a buyer on the weekend, is, I've got a land that's under contract waiting on titles registry, and it keeps getting pushed back. And then I don't know if I want to commit to a build for 18 months. And with uncertainty of price rises, you know, resent around an email in early April, 36% increase in all PVC piping. So that just compounds to everything. So, you know, you sign a build contract at 800, next thing you know, you're spending 950 to $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary to see.
Totally.
So they like the certainty of buying here and now.
I agree, man. Like the people are like, when I always have a look at stock levels, right? Stock levels, I track, my first property I bought was in Cranbrook. So with 4814, I checked the stock levels in Cranbrook and it has been flat. Like it hasn't gone up, it's not going down, but it's just like bottomed out probably for the last 2 years. And it's like, nothing's been added here. And like building approvals are low as. Some people are saying like, should I sell? I bought in Townsville a little while ago. Should I sell? I'm like, but it's going to keep doing double-digit growth year on year for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know why you'd want to not have that as a property investor.
Yeah.
But Jabyn, thank you so much for coming all the way from sunny Townsville. Go the Cows. And man, looking forward to having a drink with you tonight.
Look forward to it, Jace. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much for listening to the Moves to Momentum podcast. If you got any value out of this episode, please give us a like or subscribe. Or if you think this is relevant to any one of your friends or family, please flick it to them so they can have a listen.